everyone. We're going to find the inverse of f. We're going to check our solutions. We're going to find the domain and range and graph both functions. The first one we have is x squared. This is number 4, I believe. We're restricting the domain here because if you graph this, something like this, and if you do the inverse here, which would be here, see, we can already graph it already, that's not a function. So we're restricting it just to when x is positive, so I'm taking away that. So our answer, our graph is going to look more like this. That way it will be a function. And we'll graph it in just a minute. So let me erase that. Okay, so basically we do the same thing. We're going to write this as y equals x squared plus 4. Again, x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Now we're going to switch the x and the y. So we have x equals y squared plus 4. So that means y is greater than or equal to 0. So that's the inverse. Alright, and then solve for y. So we get x minus 4. You take the square root. We don't have to do the plus and minus because of our restrictions here. So that equals y. Now, that's your f inverse. Now let's check. We check with f composed with f inverse. So we want to do f and write down f first. And I'm going to plug in the inverse. This all cancels out. So we have x minus 4 plus 4. That equals x. All right, and we also have to do the other way, f inverse with f. So I'm going to write down this one, leave a blank for my x, and plug in this. So this is going to be x squared plus 4. These cancel, and square root of x squared equals x. So these both check. And let's talk about the domain and range. So the domain of f, I'm going to write it like this. Domain of f equals the range of f inverse. Because you're just switching the x and the y's. So that's going to be domain of f is x such that x is greater than or equal to 0. It's also the range of f inverse. Now, the range of f equals the domain of f inverse. And that's going to be all real numbers such that x has to be greater than or equal to 4. Because remember, the domain of f was, we had the square root of x minus 4. So that's just domain stuff. All right? Now, let's graph them. So I'm going to go ahead and graph y equals x. All right, and I'm going to graph half of x squared plus 4. So I'm going to go f4. And you know it's just going to be half of this quadratic thing here. So there it is. And that's f, which was y equals x squared plus 4, where x is bigger than or equal to 0. And now we're going to do the inverse, which is the inverse was the square root of x minus 4. This is a horizontal shift to the right. 2, 3, 4. And you should know what the square root function looks like, and it's right in there. And that would be it. Okay? And did I leave anything out? This is where x has to be greater than or equal to 4. And you can see that. Okay, we're going to do one that's very similar and just go a little faster. We're going to have f of x equals x squared plus 9, where x is greater than or equal to 0. We just write this as y. Switch the x and the y. So we have x equals y squared plus 9. That means y now is greater than or equal to 0. And solve for y. This is going to be the square root. Alright, now we have to compose these. So we're going to compose f with f inverse. So I'm just going to write him down, my outer function, but leave a blank and input my inverse, which is square root of x minus 9. That all cancels out. So you have x minus 9 plus 9, which equals x. Also, we go the other way. F inverse of f of x. So I'm going to go ahead and write my outer function down, but leave a blank and input my f, which is x squared plus 9. This is going to leave you square root of x squared, which equals x. Now, for the domain, we have the domain of f. I'm going to just write it like this. You can write it out if you want. Equals the range of f inverse, which equals right here. X is greater than or equal to 0. And the range of f equals the domain of f inverse. So the domain here of this is f inverse. The domain here is x has to be greater than or equal to 9. So that's going to be x is greater than or equal to 9. If you don't like writing it this way, you can write it like this. 0 to infinity. You could write it as 9 to infinity, however you like. Okay, let's graph this. And I don't have much room, so I'm going to go by 2's here. Go ahead and graph y equals x. It's just like the other one. So I'm going to go by 2. So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9 would be right there. So this would just be here. X has to be greater than or equal to 0. And then for that's f, which equals x squared plus 9. And then f inverse, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to be right in there. Well, let's do it in a different color. And that's your kind of square root function. So f inverse, which is the square root of x minus 9. Remember, that's a horizontal shift to the right. And that's all. The next 2 videos we're going to do are rationals. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.